Let's talk about Dr. Seuss. What makes him the greatest of all time? So who is Dr. Seuss? Born Theodore Seuss Geisel, or Ted for short, in 1904 in Springfield, Massachusetts, Dr. Seuss was the son of German descendants. His father, a German immigrant himself, worked as a brewmaster. That is, until Prohibition hit. That wasn't the only setback, as Seuss got crapped on at school during the First World War for his German heritage. Not all was a lost cause, for his experience in Springfield would mark the inspiration for his first children's book. Ted would go on to attend Dartmouth College, where he became the editor-in-chief of the humor magazine, The Dartmouth Jack-o'-lantern, until him and his buddies were busted, popped some gin in the dorms, and the dean made him resign. That wouldn't stop our old buddy Ted, however, for he continued to write behind the dean's back under the pen name Seuss. After Dartmouth, Seuss went to Oxford to get his PhD in English literature, only to meet a girl by the name of Helen Palmer who said, "Screw that, you don't need no stinking PhD." Apparently, this woman was quite the babe, because Seuss listened, and the two got hitched and moved back to the United States. So wait, he wasn't actually a doctor?
I don't have to say anything. I'm a doctor too.
He's a fake. A phony. Well, doctor or not, he still wrote good children's books, so...
Who cares?
So back in the States, he starts getting gigs for political cartoons and advertising, where he's making some serious moolah. But that wasn't good enough for old Ted, for he wanted more. In 1937, after getting rejected by at least 20 publishers, he released his first children's book, And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street. He'd write 4 more books before the U.S. entered World War II, where he supported the effort at home by making more political cartoons dunking on Hitler and the other turds in the war. After the war, he moved to Cali and started writing books again. And in 1957, he wrote an absolute banger called The Cat in the Hat. And after that, 3 more were at bat, whose stats had an impact and would in fact put money in the sack.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
So now that you know who Dr. Seuss is, here are my top 5 reasons why I think he's considered the greatest of all time for children's book authors. The first is his distinct style, because almost anybody who hasn't been living under a rock their entire life can pick up one of his illustrations and instantly recognize it as Dr. Seuss. For instance, let's take a look at the Grump from Green Eggs and Ham. He's this furry, feathery type of creature whose outfit blends in with his body. And here's another example of this from One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. This guy with the old hat and the gold teeth. It's a unique style that almost brings a sense of comfort knowing that we're getting another quality Dr. Seuss product that we've grown to love. So I'm actually going to do an experiment real quick. I want to take my company logo and ChatGPT turn this into an image in the style of Dr. Seuss. Let's see what comes up. Waiting, Bueller. So there you go. Not perfect, but you can kind of see the familiarities around there. Number 2 was his imagination. And as adults, I think it's something that's really hard for us to do. But for some reason, Dr. Seuss had this innate ability to capture the imagination of a child. So let's take a look at this picture from Green Eggs and Ham. It's just the sheer absurdity of it. I mean, you got a railroad track that's held together by sticks and strings, a car on top of a railroad car. These people act like nothing's going on. You got a goat sticking out, Sam in the back with his green eggs and ham. I mean, this picture just speaks to the heart and the silliness of a child's imagination. Here's another example of these kids who find this weird creature at the park after dark, and they're bringing him home to their mom. It's the image that brings more questions than answers. It's something that can only come from the mind of Dr. Seuss. So when I talk about his imagination, I think this is the one quality that makes him stand out above anything else, because his ability to take the wild things that were going on in his head and interpret that into a physical medium isn't so much of a skill that you can fully develop, but it's more of a gift that you're just naturally born with. And the beauty of that is that Dr. Seuss was able to take that gift and use that to create more gifts for millions of people around the world. Numbers 3 and 4 go hand in hand, and that's cadence and learnability. And cadence is something that I talked about in an earlier video, and it's something that Dr. Seuss uses really well in his books. To illustrate this, let's look at the first page of Cat in the Hat. And it goes, "The sun did not shine, it was too wet to play, so we sat in that house all that cold, cold, wet day." And what you'll notice if you go through the entire book is that each line has only 5 or 6 syllables. And for the most part, he doesn't deviate from that. "Now look what you did," said the fish to the cat. "Look at this house, look at this, look at that. You sank our toy ship, sank it deep in the cake. You shook up our house and you bent our new rake. You should not be here when our mother is not. You get out of this house," said the fish in the pot. In that sequence, again, 5 or 6 syllables, no deviation. And not only does it rhyme, but it creates this natural flow to the book. And once you figure out the rhythm, it makes it that much more fun to read. Now let's take a look at Green Eggs and Ham just to reinforce this point. I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. This sequence takes that principle to the max. 8 syllables per line, no more, no less. So let's dig a little deeper into the sequence. The first part of each line is the same. I do not like them, I do not like them, and on and on. The second half, in a box, with a fox, in a house, with a mouse. Similar phrases, but they all rhyme. And the further you get into this book, you'll notice that he calls back the previous lines in the book. And what this does in a subliminal way, it reinforces that vocabulary in kids. Even though these books might seem a little big and daunting to new readers, Dr. Seuss structures them in a way that makes it easy for kids to pick up on, build their vocabulary, and build confidence in their reading abilities. And it's actually something I've seen in my son as he learns to read. My last point is his repeatability factor. And what I mean by that is he just didn't have 1 or 2 books, but he had a vast library of these great classic children's books, each unique, but each holding onto that distinct Dr. Seuss style that we all love. Here are just 3 of the books I went over today, and by the simple color scheme alone, you can just tell how unique these are to each other. But just think about all the other books that are out there that I didn't go over. Horton Hears the Who, or The Places You'll Go, The Grinch, just to name a few. It's his enormous body of work through several decades that really cemented him as a pop culture icon. And I'd be hard-pressed to see anybody reach the level of impact and relevance that he did on the children's book industry. Now, does this mean for a kid's book to be good, it has to have all these qualities? Not necessarily. But, since he was the GOAT, we can take his style and the elements he had in his stories and see how we can apply it to us to make us better readers. Because there is a lot we can learn from the Doctor, even if he wasn't really a doctor.
Who cares?
So if you think there's anything I missed about Dr. Seuss, leave a comment below and I'd love to talk about it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and if you would like to support me and the channel further, feel free to check out a copy of one of my books, available on Amazon.com, link in the description below. Till then, God bless.